So my name is Karen Weinstein, and my bio is in the thing, and I don't really talk a lot about myself, so there's very limited detail. Sorry. So I was a preschool teacher for many, many years, and then I realized that that was not the career for me, and it physically did me in. So after getting laid off from that job, I was then, my CP decided to take over. And my CP went from being manageable, mild, and controlled to extremely challenging to walk. And I could not walk very well without the help of a cane. And then the cane became a leg brace, which I had walked out of at 14. And that became a loft strand cane later down the road to the point where I couldn't walk. Anyway, that's my CP journey as an adult. Today, I wanted to I'm going to kind of synopsize this. I wanted you guys to think outside the box. That was the title of my talk, because I want you to think about the children that come into your clinics and your doctor's offices. Think about the child that comes with their parents, the one that has a mother who might be let their presence be known, where the child is very shy and quiet, but the mother does all the talking. And what you might not see of that child is that child lives at home with a brother who's very abusive, who also is being raised by his single mom that berates him for a very severe stutter and tells him that he is the one that is always wrong and he can correct and control his stutter. Think about that child in your office, and you're hearing the mother describe everything they need or whatever the medical need or issue is, and you're not hearing from that child. And he's likely not going to talk to you at all because that mother is there, and that mother is going to judge every little thing he does, and he's going to hear about it when he gets home. I want you guys to try and reach that child. Reach every child that comes into your office, even if it's hard, even if you have the child that comes in that has the severe disability, has the severe form of CP, where, thinking is difficult, it's challenging, processing is slow, and you can lose your frame of mind really easy because you get off track. And that child comes into your office with both parents, and both parents are more than willing to do anything and everything for that child. And I mean everything, as in they will do everything for that child. But you're not going to hear from that child because she can't really form everything she wants to say in the amount of time that you're sitting there visiting with that family. She's not going to fully be able to verbalize, hey, I'm feeling this way or I'm feeling that way. She might try, but she's going to usually get stuck. And she's going to be a child whose thoughts are going to get missed. So I want you to think about these kids that come to your offices that you may not really touch with, but it's important for you to make a connection with them, because that's what's going to formulate their opinions and ideas about doctors in their future. When we are grown up and we go away from home, if we are lucky enough to do so, I left my family's home when I was 19 and I went to college. I'm a lucky one. But after 19, I then had to be in charge of my own medical everything. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know who I was supposed to go to. I had to learn to mess with my insurance. And, at the time, growing up, my parents had to deal with braces and this and that, and I didn't have to deal with any of that. So I didn't learn. So if you guys make connections with your kids now, the kids that come into your offices, then they can grow up and maybe feel a little more comfortable trying to find a good doctor and feeling a little more comfortable that they're going to be heard and listened to. So Duncan, I owe you a debt of gratitude, because in 2008 was the first CP conference that was held here. And that was when you brought Michael Andery to that conference. And he is like in my back pocket. Like, he is my go-to. He is like the only one that I really trust in the area. So it's very rare for us to be able to find good doctors. And it's not even that we have to have a doctor that knows about CP or cerebral palsy or whatever you're going to call it now. But we need a doctor that's going to listen to us. We need a doctor that is willing to say, I don't know everything about your cerebral palsy, but let's tackle it together. Those are the things that we need. And so then when I was talking to Madeline about this speech, she also wanted me to tell you guys or come up with things that are a challenge. So as an adult with cerebral palsy, the concerns, one of my biggest concerns, and these are concerns that I think all of us face. I bounced it off a few friends of mine, and it's the biggest concern is the focus of cerebral palsy. Even at this conference, the focus tends to be on the children and the ones that have the most severe disabilities. While these groups are very important, and there are many more of us, though, that are in the working class, there are those of us that we kind of fall between the cracks, because if you have a mind and if you can speak and if you can think for yourself, you're kind of on your own. The resources are not necessarily as easy to find, and you really need to learn to advocate for yourself. And I think both Duncan and Peter can probably relate to that as well. And when you are not sure how to advocate for yourself, it makes it that much harder. Finding doctors that are fully willing to hear and listen to us proves almost impossible. Many doctors tend to offer the take this drug speech as if drugs fix everything. And I feel lucky, like I said, that I have Dr. Andary. And then I also met an amazing orthopedic surgeon here in this area who 4 years ago did a triple arthrodesis for me. Now, I had seen another doctor, an orthopedic specialist, who wanted to do tendon transfers into my left foot, which is my left side is my severe side. So my left foot would not really fully be able to recover from a muscle graft per se, where you have to have good muscle control in order to be able to gain more muscle. It just wasn't going to happen. So I left that office and then I found Dr. Dunn, and he was amazing. Since I've had that surgery, and it was my first major CP surgery, thank goodness. So I had my first major surgery at 46. And that was when I also learned that I have to exercise. I have to exercise all the time. If I don't exercise, my foot's going to go right back where it was. And that is something that none of us learned as a child. So please tell your students to move, your kids to move. Tell them, even if you hurt, as long as you're not having the sharp, intense pains, get out there and exercise, get out there and move, because that's going to keep us going even longer. So that's where I'm at now, is like trying to figure out that balance between exercise and finding gym classes that are willing to work with adjustable workouts. I've been turned away from gym classes before because I would slow down the rhythm of the class, but they would be more than willing to work with me on a one-on-one basis. So the one that I did find, I found a great gym, and it was a great little startup, and then COVID hit. And unfortunately, COVID sank his gym, and he stopped having the gym open. So I lost that. So now I'm back to square one and trying to find my own modality of exercise and what's the right thing to do and what's not the right thing to do. Anyway, also the juggle between self-care and work. There's this theory out there. It's called the spoon theory. Has anybody heard of that? So the spoon theory, it's where you choose how many spoons you have in a day. So like you have 5 or 6 spoons in a day, right? And getting up and getting dressed, well, that's a spoon. Going to work for even a couple hours in a day, that's going to take up about 3 spoons. Now you're down to 1 spoon left. You know, how are you going to use these spoons? How are you going to get by on your day with limited energy? And, you know, you have to really push yourselves. And you guys really did a good job picking people that have CP to come and talk today, because I think the 3 of us are like night and day difference from each other. But I think the one thing that the 3 of us probably do have in common is drive and determination. And that's the one thing that is going to get people that have cerebral palsy keep going. That's going to help them keep going. So overall, I just, you know, at the end of the day, try to remember that those of us that do have cerebral palsy, we're just like you. You know, all the desires, hopes, and wants that you guys have, those are the things that we want to have in our lives too. We just don't want to be seen with as our disability. We don't want to be seen for ability aids or canes or, you know, wheelchairs, whatever. Those are not who we are. Look past all of that stuff. Look at the person within. And then, you know, if everybody could do that, things would be a lot better. So I'm done.